Hey there, my guest this week on 1501 is the incomparable William Hung. Now, you probably remember him from American Idol fame or infamy, as it may be. But in case you forgot, he did a very interesting rendition of Ricky Martin's She Bangs in front of Paula Abdul, Randy Jackson, and Simon Cowell back in 2003. Here's a little reminder of what that was like.
Talk to me, tell me your name. You blow me off like it's all the same. You lit it fierce and I'm taking away like a bomb. Yeah, baby. She bangs, I'm
Thank you.
wasted by the way
Thank
she...
you. I mean, everything about it was grotesque.
Oh, stop it.
Not grotesque.
It was.
Come on.
Stop it.
You can't sing, you can't dance. So what do you want me to say?
Something about that captured the hearts of America, and William was able to turn this into a pretty lucrative career. I'm going to talk to him all about his American Idol experience, the craziness of fame that happened in the few years following, and what he's been up to since in this interview. But before we get to that, I would appreciate it if you enjoyed this show to share it. All you got to do is find us on social media everywhere at 1501 Show or head over to 1501show.com. Tell your friends if you like this interview. We got lots more to come. Or just like it, leave a comment, anything helps. All right, here we go. This is William Hung of American Idol fame and She Bangs. They say everyone gets their 15 minutes of fame, but what happens when that time is up? Some burn out, some find ways to extend that fame, while others find success in completely different ventures. My name is Derek Sparts. Join me as I talk with actors, musicians, viral sensations, athletes, and more to find out what drove them to this crazy world of fame and fortune, along with some tales of misfortune along the way. This is 1501. My special guest is William Hung. William, thank you so much for coming on 1501. I appreciate your time on the podcast.
Yeah, it sounds like fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I've been reading about you, I think in the last week or so since we agreed to do this interview, and the more I read about you, the more fascinating you are.
What makes you say that?
You've lived many lives. I think most people obviously know you from American Idol, but there's a lot more to you. So I think we're going to get into that. First of all, let's go back to 2003. This was 20 years ago now. How crazy is that?
Yeah. Why? Time goes by so fast.
Yeah. So what was going on in your life before you decided to head over to the American Idol auditions?
I was a college student at UC Berkeley studying for civil engineering.
And what made you decide to get the singing bug? I heard that you did a talent competition shortly before you actually went to American Idol.
That's right. I actually won singing the same song, She Bangs by Ricky Martin.
Nice. So you already had a basis for this song that you said, you know what, I think I have something here.
Yeah, potentially. You never know.
So tell me about why you decided to go to American Idol, because I just want to put into context for people that may not be familiar. This was season 3 of American Idol. The show was a phenomenon at the time.
Yes.
It's still on today, but the viewership is about 20% of what it used to be. On the season that you were on American Idol, the average viewership was about 25 million people, which is insane. There's no shows that get that anymore today.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So you see an audition, obviously, at, I think it was a local stadium. What made you think, I need to go to that?
I just want to try something new. No expectations. If somehow I get to go to Hollywood, then maybe I can try out a new business, get into the entertainment industry. But to me, the chance I give myself is very low as well, because I know how hard it is. So I'm thinking it's just like buying a lottery ticket.
So you were realistic in the sense that you were like, this probably won't happen, but there is some sort of chance at the same time.
Yes.
So how many people were actually at this audition? I've been to some American Idol auditions. I used to work in radio, and we would go to the local auditions, and there were thousands of people there. Was that the case for yours?
Yes, about 3,000 people.
Wow. So you don't just walk right in and meet all the judges and then sing for them instantly. It's a whole process. Can you kind of walk us through what happened? How long were you waiting in line? How many people did you actually have to meet with before you got in front of Paula, Randy, and Simon?
Well, there were multiple rounds of audition. For me, I was very lucky. I only had to wait like 2 hours before I got my turn
Oh, that's not too
to
bad.
audition. Yeah, in front of the staff. And then most people went home. They cut you off pretty quick. But for some reason, I was able to sing for over a minute. And this lady, one of the staff members, she let me through. She told me to come back the next day.
That's a really long time, actually. If you think about it, a minute is a long time. Usually they got 3,000 people to get through, so they want to push them all through right away. Now
Right.
that had to be a sign to you that like, hey, maybe I have a chance here.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. And then the next day, I auditioned in front of the producers, and then they let me through again, and then that's how I got to see Randy, Paula, and Simon.
So what were the producers telling you? Did they tell you you were for sure going to go see Randy, Paula, and Simon, or was it they kind of leave it as a surprise for you?
No, they told me I was going to see them, and they told me to do the same song, She Bangs.
So how many times did you actually have to perform She Bangs before you actually saw the judges?
One time.
Just once. Wow.
Because the first time I tried to do Two Worlds by Phil Collins.
Okay.
And then the lady told me like what other songs that I know, and then I told her I know She Bangs because I sang that song at school. The lady said that you should totally do She Bangs.
That's really interesting. So Ricky Martin was not your first choice initially.
No. Yeah.
Wow, that's good to know. I think you picked the right song, by the way. So let's walk into that room. You walk into this room. You know what? On TV, it just looks like a normal room, and it's Paula, Randy, and Simon just sitting at a table. I assume there's a couple cameras in there. Was there anyone else really in that room?
No.
That's got to be really intimidating to walk in and those three are there.
Yeah, it's a big room with a lot of space.
So you go up, you start your song. I think everyone's seen the video and what happened. Is that true to life, what actually happened? I know producers like to cut a lot of stuff out, or is that pretty much exactly what happened?
The essence of the audition is the same. It's like I sang the song, and then the judges were not impressed. Randy was laughing.
Yeah, I think you put a piece of paper in front of him to kind of say you didn't see it.
Right. And then Simon was like not interested, crossing his arms. So yeah, it's basically the same thing. And then I decided to respond in a positive way. That was the difference maker, because I felt like I had that choice. Most people, when they don't make it to Hollywood, they would get angry and upset. And I feel like I didn't need to be doing the same thing.
And it used to kind of be like a bit for American Idol where they would put some of these auditions of the people that make it, and their reaction would be what everybody would want to see, how angry they would get. But you had the total opposite reaction.
Yes.
You actually pushed back at Simon a little bit, though. I watched the full audition again yesterday, and I was like, you know what? He actually stood up for himself pretty well against Simon.
I feel like I can like have fun and be genuine, but also like understand that I know I don't have the raw talent. I was not musically trained for like 10 or 20 years, so it was okay.
Yeah, in fact, you said you had zero musical training.
Zero. Right, yeah.
And Simon was not surprised to hear that. So you go to the audition, they tell you, thanks, but no thanks in so many words. Not so kind, I guess. And do you go home? What do you think? Did you even tell anyone you were there? Because I know you said your parents didn't know you were there and you didn't make it on. So did you even decide to tell anyone you were there?
No, I did. I only told a few good friends that I would go back to class. I didn't make it, whatever. I really expect nothing to happen, because for the most part, when you don't make it to Hollywood, even if they make fun of you on TV, whatever happens, usually that's it. People get a good laugh, and then life goes on. But for my case, it wasn't. It was so crazy and unexpected.
We're going to get to why you think that happened in a bit, but I want to hear about the first time you saw yourself on the show. Did you know it was coming? I know sometimes these producers won't even tell you that you're going to be on TV.
Well, I saw myself in a commercial like 3 to 4 months later. So just to put the context, how the timing works. Like this, I remember the audition was around September.
Okay.
And then they broadcast like 4 months later in January.
So yeah, it was a pretty long period. Had you kind of forgotten about it initially? That you just
Yes.
Yeah. So and then you saw yourself in a commercial. Like they didn't email you or call you and say,
No.
"Hey, you're going to be on Fox." It was just on a commercial.
Yes.
I can't even imagine my reaction if I saw a national commercial and I'm singing on it in front of millions of people. What did you think about that? So this was the commercial. This is before it actually aired. So you knew you were going to be on the show, I would assume.
Yes.
And did you get instantly recognized when that aired? Like was it even before it aired? Because you said you saw the commercial. Did people realize it was you even before the show aired?
They recognized it was me, but nothing really happened until it was broadcast that night on national television. And then the crazy chain reaction began.
So how did your life change instantly? I mean, did you just go to school the next day? Was it a normal day for you to start out and then people just mobbed you?
Yeah, it's that's kind of how it works because I got like hundreds of emails right after the Fox broadcasted my audition, and those emails were like from Entertainment Tonight, On Air with Ryan Seacrest, Ellen DeGeneres. It was so unbelievable.
Yeah, that's amazing. And obviously you took them up on those offers, I assume.
Yeah.
And what happens from there? Are you telling yourself right away that, hey, I have something here. Maybe I should pursue this a little bit further?
Well, the next day I went back to class. I tried to be normal guy. I wasn't trying to tell people about it. But then, yes, I got mobbed after one of my civil engineering classes. I will never forget that. Like could I have a picture with you? Oh my God, you're that guy.
Well, you're very recognizable and you're very distinctive. So I think once word got out that American Idol guy is here, everyone had to go see you.
Yeah.
So then what's the next step? You start appearing on these TV shows, radio shows, and then what happens?
Well, one of my fans created my website, williamhung.net. And then it got over 8 million hits in less than a month.
Wow. And what was on this site? Could they learn more about you? Could they get some music from you? Or is it just general talking about you?
I'm speaking with reference to the past because right now, as of this recording, it is under construction again.
Okay.
But yeah, it was like all the history, how everything happened, some of my performances. But what happened is that website, because it got so many hits, it got the attention of one of my record companies, or former record companies,
Sure.
Koch Records. So that's how I got the first contract, the album, $25,000.
So your $25,000 was your advance, I assume.
Yes.
And you did an album that was called Inspiration, correct?
Yes.
And how long between the time that American Idol aired to this record coming out?
It was so fast, within like 2 months.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you were like, we need to jump on this, or at least the record label told you, we got to get this out immediately.
That's their thinking, yes.
And what was the perception of that album? How'd it go?
Well, it's right. It's some people like it, some people hate it. That was the overall reaction.
There's not too much in between. You either love it or you hate it.
Nope.
That's really cool. And beyond that, I would think that you started to think that, I believe the album was pretty successful sales-wise, though, correct?
Yeah, it was the #1 independent album on Billboards.
That's pretty crazy. Did you ever imagine something like that happening? Even 3 months earlier, you were just in class.
No way. And I mean, I even know the album like from a if you measure with any traditional standard, it's not a good album by traditional standard. But it was supposed to be fun. It was supposed to like make fun. I don't know how to say it. Like I would say that's not my that if you're like a professional musician, that would not be something you're proud of. I think that's a good way to put it.
But you know what? I love that about you is that you're super positive and you know your strengths. A lot of
Yeah.
people that go on American Idol or any of these other talent shows, I think a lot of them think that they're a lot better performer than they actually are.
Yeah.
So you knew that, I might not be the best singer, the best dancer, but you went
Right.
in with a great positive attitude and you have fun. Look, you smile, you have fun, you're having a good time no matter what happens. I really like that about you.
Well, I appreciate that. The other thing I want to mention, because money is definitely one factor, but it wasn't the main factor. The main factor that I wasn't happy about the whole journey is that a lot of critics, they make up versions of my story that's not true.
And that's why we have you on, so you can tell us the actual story.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people,
you know,
a lot of people like to put headlines out there to, clickbait, grab things like that. And I think you kind of became a punching bag for a joke. And
yes,
that's really unfortunate. But I think the way that you've handled it has been very, very fantastic.
Thank you.
So I want to know, I feel like at this point, you're 2 months out from Idol. You had an album come out. I assume you're playing a lot of gigs too, like live gigs.
Yeah, I get invited to all the big performances around the world. It's crazy.
Do you have any fun stories? I know that it's not so much a secret, but a lot of times performers, especially musicians, comedians, things of that matter, they play a lot of private parties that people don't hear about. I assume you got invited to a lot of private gigs. Was there any kind of like fun, like celebrity story that ended up being a huge fan of yours, or maybe like some billionaire flew you to Dubai to sing or something like that? Do you have any stories like that?
Not quite, but I did perform for like Microsoft, House of Blues. I think the House
Sure.
of Blues was private because they actually booked the venue like pretty far in advance.
Very cool.
I remember it was in Chicago. I was very well paid for that one, so that's pretty close to a private gig.
Sure. Was Bill Gates at the Microsoft one?
I thought he was gonna be, but he wasn't.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
That's very cool. How long did it take for Ricky Martin to reach out to you? Because you just performed that song, I think had come out about 2 years prior to when you performed it. And I got to think that he saw a bump in sales too after your performance.
Well, I'm glad that it worked out for both of us that way. Yes, he did reach out multiple times on radio to see if I wanted to perform a duet with him, and I tried to make this work, but it didn't really happen until like 2018.
Oh, wow. It took that long, huh? Was there any reason for the delay or just...
It's hard to say. I mean, maybe it could be my schedule, his schedule, who knows?
Sure. Yeah, he's a busy guy. That makes sense. Why don't you tell us about that then? So 2018, we're 15 years after your initial performance on American Idol, and Ricky Martin invites you on stage with him. How did that go?
Wow, it was so surreal. I couldn't believe I finally meet him in real person and perform on the same stage. Pretty cool.
Where were you guys at to perform that?
Las Vegas.
Oh, very cool. That's the perfect spot to do it.
Yeah.
And I know that you actually went back on Idol a couple years ago. They had a 20th anniversary show.
Yes.
Are you regularly kind of in touch with Idol staff? Do they reach out to you to kind of make appearances every once in a while?
Yes.
And what do you think of American Idol today compared to when you were on it? So when you were on it, it was kind of this new phenomenon. It was huge. And now the judges are all different. I think the only constant still is Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, it's so different from before because now they are purely focusing on finding the best singing talent for the show. But I feel like before it was a very different show, especially Randy, Paula, and Simon.
Yeah, and the element of Simon being mean is gone. There's no one that's really mean anymore. And it's I think you kind of need that.
Right.
So at what point did you finally go, I got an album, I'm performing all these gigs. I believe you dropped out of school. Was this the plan to just kind of ride this out for a while and see how long you can take it?
Yeah, because sometimes in life you only get that one chance.
Right.
If you don't make the most out of that chance, it will not come back to you.
And I'm curious about how long did it take before you realized, okay, I had my run, I did good. I assume you made a pretty good amount of money. And when did you start to see it really slow down?
About 4 to 5 years.
So, I mean, 4 to 5 years off a 1-minute clip on TV? I'd say that's a pretty good run.
Yeah, that's true.
What was the decision after that? Because you've had some interesting jobs since then that I don't think anyone, if they didn't look up your history, would guess that you had did.
Yeah, I left math since I was young. So I went back to finish my bachelor's degree in math. I worked for the sheriff's department for 2 years for statistics, and then 6 years for public health.
So you went from being on American Idol, singing in front of crowds of thousands of people, and then you said, I want to go work for the sheriff's department.
I know, right?
That's very interesting. And then I think you've had some other ventures we should jump into too. I feel like I saw you playing poker. Are you a professional poker player, William?
Yes.
Where did that come from?
Well, like I said, I like math. I like games.
The math part adds up.
Yeah. Well, poker, I started as a hobby a few years after the audition. And then I just play online, play for fun whenever I could because it's something different. I don't want to do the same thing all the time.
Yeah. See, I think you need patience on poker because when I watch poker, I'm so impatient and I'm like ADD and I'm jumping around and want to do other things. And I feel like you are too, but they just sit there and they have a blank expression. A lot of them wear sunglasses. I feel like you have to be reading them. Like, what can I get off of this opponent?
Well, I think that one is overrated. It's more focused on the math, about the card combinations, the betting patterns. That's what I learned throughout the years.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And you also wrote a book a few years back too, I believe, right? You want to tell us about that?
Yes. I wrote a book called Champion by Choice. The idea is that I want to leave a legacy for people to inspire them to become a champion regardless of your circumstances.
I love that title. That's a really great title. And I think it obviously applies to you. I mean, you were against the odds of really taking anything out there with just this one TV show, and you turned it into something so much more.
Yeah.
And I think that inspired you to do your current profession now. You're actually a motivational speaker, correct?
Yes, and I'm still doing that. I've done 3 TEDx talks. I spoke all over the world.
That's very cool. I actually watched one of your TED Talks. I think it was down in San Diego, and it was really cool. You did you kind of walked everyone through what you've been through, and then you turned it into a really great speech to inspire people.
Yeah, that was cool. That was fun.
So what has your experience with fame taught you? Because as much positive feedback as you've had, there's been just as much negative, if not even more negative. What are some of the tools that you've utilized to block a lot of that out, to not affect you?
Focus on what you can control.
You said media is kind of tried to smear you a little bit maybe and put a story out there that's not actually the real case. So would you say that your experiences are actually a lot more positive than they have been negative?
Yeah, overall, I would never trade my experience back for something else. Like, it's an incredible journey. I learned a lot from that. I feel I grew up as a person because of this journey, and I'm still evolving. And I think one of the most valuable lessons is that you can create the life you want. You don't have to be stuck with the traditional definition of success or happiness.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So where would you see your life, William, if this American Idol audition had never happened? Or if you got sent home that day and it never even made it to TV? What would you picture your life to look like today that would be different?
Probably just go back to school, try out other ventures. Maybe I try out some other auditions, other shows. Who knows?
That's a good plan. Is there anywhere that you want to send people to learn more about you? Where can they get the book, learn how to check you out at one of your speeches?
Easiest way to connect right now is Instagram, William Hung Official. I am also available on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Very cool. And I'll put the links to that in the show notes if anybody else wants to reach out to William. Before we get out of here, can I ask a favor?
Yes.
Can we hear you sing?
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to do something a little bit different. Since you said sing, I don't want to always do shebangs. Yeah, everybody heard shebang so much. So let me try something a little bit different.
Let's see what you got.
Dance, dance, dance to the rhythm. Let the problems go away. Dance, dance, dance to the rhythm. There's a party every day. Dance, dance, dance to the rhythm. Let the problems go away. Dance, dance, dance to the rhythm. There's a party every day. Hey, hey.
Nice. I like that. That's a very inspirational song, and it works well with your motivational speaking and your overall message, William. I really appreciate your time coming on 1501. I wish you all the best, and I hope that a lot of people got a little bit out of this from you, beyond just the guy from American Idol.
Thank you.
Well, there it was. I hope you enjoyed that interview with William Hung. Really fascinating character. If you did like it, do me a favor, please share it online and tag us. You can find us on all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, the usuals, at 1501 Show. If you help share the show, we can grow it and continue to get more great guests like William. I will see you on the next episode.